Welcome back to a new video, fellas. Today we're working on the IS300. The Lexus IS300 is going to get a new base in the trunk. At least that's the plan, guys. Now, this is my first time doing it. I haven't worked on stereo systems in a long time. So I got the speaker from my brother. Thank you, Carlos. He gave me this from a system that he had a long time ago. With the wiring, here's the wire for the battery, the RCA, the speaker wire, the ground wire, even the fuse. And I got myself an amp. Hopefully this will be enough to push that speaker, well, that bass. I guess we'll find out. Oh, this is an adapter that I got through Amazon. I'll leave the link in the description. So this adapter allows you to connect to the wires going to the speakers in the car from the original amp. You can do it that way, or you can do it from the actual speaker, and allow you to connect to the RCA like we used to do back in the day behind the stereo of a car. But now you can use this to connect to this, and this to connect to the amplifier, and then from the amplifier use the wires, speaker wires, to connect to your boombox. And obviously your amplifier is going to need your ground, the ground, and the power wire, along with a remote to wake it up. And we'll grab a remote wire from somewhere in the amp too. We got to get a blue wire connected. That's usually a blue wire, so that it wakes it up, wakes the amp up, and gives us the music, the bass. So going back in the trunk, guys. First thing you're gonna do is remove the carpet, which I did, and it's over there. Then we're gonna just take some covers off, because the original amplifier is here underneath here somewhere. So most likely I gotta take this off, and possibly this panel right here. And I guess eventually we're gonna run wires through there to go to the battery, along the car, come out here, through here, and all the way in the front, and then to the battery that is located on the passenger side here on the Lexus. So the plan is to come out of there, that grommet right there, hopefully, and then route to the positive on the battery. So that's the plan. But the first thing we're gonna do is work in the trunk and start taking panels out and exposing the factory amp. So stick around and let's see how we can do this without messing it up. All right, so I removed the cover right here on the side, and I removed this from this area because this cover, which is this one, is gonna come out. We have to get to some kind of bolt that's underneath here. So with a hook or a screwdriver, go ahead and pick this up. That exposes your 10mm head bolt. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that, and that's gonna allow me to. I removed that plastic piece right here with the bolt. Comes right out. Now I think this will lift right up, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be mistaken. Let's see. Let me work on this. Yep. So all I had to do was pull it up. I just needed both hands. It has that white clip, and these on the side that held it in place. Comes right out. And that right there is the amplifier, the factory amp. So we're gonna go ahead and put this to the side somewhere where it doesn't get damaged. Now what we need to do is we need more access to this, because it has a bolt here and it has to have a bolt somewhere on that side. So what we're gonna do is work on this trim right here, this cover. And I see there's some clips here, and this cover also goes underneath this, so we're probably gonna remove this. That's what it seems like. And this one probably has a bolt too underneath, so we're gonna get that off. I had to bust out with my kit for trim removal tools, all kinds of different ones. I'll leave the link in the description for this one. I got it through Amazon too, but these things are everywhere now. So I just started removing one over here, one over there. There's probably some more that I gotta show you. But yeah, it's easier if you got one of these. You can do it with a screwdriver or with a hook, but you might break it. So if you got some of these tools, I recommend you using it or get them. All right, guys, so I got this piece out. It took about 3 clips and it came out, and I had to take that out because it was over this panel. And then I had to take this piece out. It had a few clips too, because it's over this panel. There it is. So it had 3 clips, and once you remove the clips, you gotta pull up because it has these white clips underneath. So once you remove it, and because it sits underneath this one, you grab it from here and you pop it up, and then remove it going that way and take it out. Or you can just remove this one and you can pop it up straight up and just remove it. This one is the same thing. You just gotta, pop this up, and remove the bolt underneath. It's up to you. Now, this one, I think I got all the clips. One here, one here. I think that piece that I took out before, and I think it's ready to come out. I'm gonna move that out of the way and I'll show you. I found that it had one more clip here, and then this piece right here screwed onto here, so that was holding it in place. So I think it's ready now. We'll see. So it's almost out. Something's holding it back there, but I don't really need to go any further with this because all I want to do is have access to the amp, and there it is. So it's up to you guys. You can remove it all the way or not. I'm gonna work with it like this. So now we're gonna have access to that 10mm nut right there and that 10mm nut right there, so that we have access to the wire a little better. All right, guys, the amplifier is moved out of the way. Now I have access to the actual plug, electrical plug. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna tap into this plug for the RCA, for the adapter. And on this one, we're gonna tap in for the remote. And then we're gonna put everything back. And then we're gonna run the wires from underneath somewhere and have them routed to the amplifier and to the box. The wires you're gonna be tapping are on this plug, right? The very first plug right here. You're gonna tap into the number 6 wire on the top, counting from the blue one, or the number 6 space, right? So because there's an empty space right there. I don't know if you can see it. An empty space. So you're gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's gonna be not this brown wire, but the second one in, and that's gonna be your positive. And then if you turn the amp around, the blue wire on this side is gonna be your negative. Okay. That's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna tap into those using I got some electrical connections somewhere. I gotta find them. They bite into the wire, and then they give you a place so you can connect. I gotta find them. All right, guys. So I found what I was looking for. They're called T-tabs. T-tabs. So this is what's gonna bite into the wire, and once I close it and it bites into the wire, it gives me a place to connect. Gives me a female, and then I connect the male end, and the male end is going to be connected to the adapter there, and that's going to give me the connection that I'm looking for from the speakers to the RCA. That's how you tap. So I'm going to use 2 of these for the speaker, positive and negative, and 1 of these for the remote. This is the number if you need to grab it from an auto parts store. Hold on. So almost there. Come on, man, focus. There it is. But I also will leave links for that in the description so you can grab it through Amazon if you want to. It's up to you. You can go buy your own stuff. You can get similar stuff, or you can buy exactly what I'm using. All right, let's move on. Okay, I put these T-tabs in. Just make sure you squeeze them good with a needle nose plier or any plier. Just make sure you don't damage anything. Be very careful. I use a hook to pull on the wire towards me, both wires, so that way I can separate them from the rest of the wires. And my connection is ready. Now all I gotta do is come to the converter here, adapter, whatever you want to call it, and on this side we're not going to use the yellow, or we're not going to use the black. We're going to focus on these are the speaker wires. I'm going to connect the negatives, which is the ones with the black stripe. I'm going to connect them together like I did, along with the ones without the stripe. Connect them together, and this is where I'm going to connect my male connector. I'm going to crimp that on right there. All right, guys, so the male connections are crimped on. This is the tool that I use for that, crimping tool. And if you need to strip wires, you use something like this. So now the next thing I'm going to do, before I connect this, which I can now, it doesn't matter, I'm gonna find my remote wire, and my remote wire is gonna be this brown wire here in the corner. It's not brown, it's like a light brown. I don't know what, beige, I guess. So I'm gonna connect to this wire. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna put one of these on here, and that's gonna be my remote. Okay, guys, so I connected the positive. Like I explained to you guys, the first one, number 6. Pin number 6 is the positive, and then on the other side, pin 27, which is the one directly underneath, the blue one, is the negative. So make sure you get that correct. So that's in. The rest of the wire we're not gonna use. So individually, I wrap black tape around them, and then I put them together with black tape. So individually got black tape around the exposed wire, and then I tape them together. So make sure you don't mess that up. Don't connect these. These are not supposed to be connected to each other. And now we're just gonna find a place for the lineup converter adapter thing to sit somewhere. We're probably gonna zip tie it to this wire. I'm gonna put the cover back on to see how it looks. Oh, and another thing I did, I found a ground, and I already placed my ground that's gonna go to the amplifier. Because since that is a ground connection right there for the car, I figure what better spot than that one. So now if you're not doing it like me and you need a ground, as long as it's in the metal, it's gonna be good. So you screw it into the metal, should be good, but make sure you get a good ground. So now I'm gonna put this cover back in and see how that's looking, where it's sitting. I got to figure out how to run the wire out from this corner into the trunk to where I'm going to mount the amplifier. Okay, so that's how it's looking with the cover back on. Let's put a zip tie around the harness here to hold this in place. I still got my remote wire that I'm going to grab power from for the amp. My ground is routed through here for now. Now I'm gonna see, I gotta run the power wire all the way through there to the side of the car, all the way to the battery. Also wanna see where am I gonna put the amp. Might put the amp over here somewhere. And then run the wires to the speaker. The remote right here, nice and easy. Gotta run the RCAs right into there. And then the ground to the amp, which is going to be mounted right here. At least that's the plan. And then the speaker's going to be somewhere in the center. All right, let's move on. Power wire. Let's get this through. All right, guys, so I'm working. That's the trunk. This is the back seat. I removed this cover right here. All you gotta do is pop it out. So you can see I already got the power wire ran through back here. I just found a spot and I started putting it in. And then I put my hands in here and started watching for the wire and then guide it all the way in here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push it down in here and put it underneath this and reach out to that corner through there. But now we're gonna work this end through there and through the front. All right, guys, so once I got to this point, I just pushed it all the way through. And as you guys can see, again, I pulled on that plastic piece, it comes right off. And I got it through here gently. And I'm just pulling on the wire now. Trying to get all the excess wire nice and tight. And that's nice and tight where it goes. Make sure you don't get it to where, remember that's power coming from the battery. You want that tucked in nicely. And you don't want it to be rubbing on metal. So this is behind the seat. This is where, so far, this is where I got it. And it's coming through here and underneath here. That's how I'm doing it so far. I gotta, remember this is just, I get it through the place and then if I have to adjust it, or if I don't like the fit, I have to pull on more wire, less wire, whatever I gotta do. If I have to tuck it in more, I'll tuck it in more. Remember, there's a cover that goes on top of this. So far, I like the way it's looking. It's not gonna be rubbing on metal, like sharp edges more than anything. That's what I mean. So now we continue moving forward with how we're gonna get the wire through the firewall. So I'm probably gonna take this cover off and the bottom cover off so that we can come through here. My plan is to come through there, that grommet right there. Hopefully you can see it. That grommet right there. We're probably gonna have to poke a hole through it or something. Maybe, maybe not, we'll see. All right, so I removed this piece from the side here. All I gotta do, all I had to do was pull on it, and you know, it has clips. That's really easy, guys. And then I remove this piece. Again, pull it out. I got clips. Don't force it. Go nice and gentle. Now, in order to remove the bottom piece, there's a screw here. And I think that's it, and it comes out. I've removed this before for the remote starter, but I forget. So I'm gonna try that. Then I'll pull down on it, see if I can expose that grommet. We're almost there. There it is, guys. So I'm just pulling down on it and it's coming off. There you go. Man, I almost went and watched one of my own videos to try to remember. But anyway, now we're gonna have to look to see if we can find what we're looking for. So this is gonna be probably the most challenging part from this whole installation. So I'm underneath here and you see that grommet right there? Right, that black grommet. That's where we want to put our wire through. So we might have to make a hole. We might not. I have to see if I can squeeze it through there. But I cannot bring it with me because it is tight. But once I figure it out, then I'll explain to you what I did. I'm in next to the battery, guys, right now. I think there is a little hole there, and there's a nipple. Let me see if I can show you guys. I can't see myself. There's a bottom piece of plastic right there. And I think this is where we're gonna, that right there, I think this is where we're gonna come out of. See that nipple sticking out? Just like a plug on the end. I'm gonna cut that off. But in order to get to it, I am going to remove this bracket. This bracket is connected to ground cables, to the battery ground. I'm just gonna see if I can remove these 2 bolts, hopefully, so that I can just move it out of the way so I can get my hand in there. If not, I'll just take the battery out. Okay, that seems to have worked. I removed the negative cable from the battery and along with the bracket so that I can get my hand in there and see how we're gonna do this. But just remember that you just disconnected the battery, so whatever preset stations that you had is gonna reset. And probably when I put the connection back on, maybe the alarm will go off. Not sure, but that might be a thing. But now we have access, so I'm gonna see what I'm gonna do there and I'll tell you. All right, guys, so I did end up cutting, see this piece of wire right here, this black piece of wire right there. It's through that nipple that I was showing you guys. So I went from the inside and I put it in and it comes right out of that nipple. So I was right. So now the other end, I am going to tape it to the red wire. I'm gonna tape it to this end and I'm gonna pull it through. Obviously I gotta get the wire through here first. Then once I get in that corner, I'll tape it. I'll tape it to the black wire and then I'll pull it through. That's the plan. Hey guys, so with the same technique of the wire that I'm gonna put through the grommet, I use it to get it through here. So you can tell, I taped it and then I ran it up. But this wire, you can shape it however you want, 'cause it's pretty thick. So that helped to give it a hook. And it's right through there and it's on top. So now I'm gonna drive it through the firewall. Okay guys, so that worked just right. There's my positive cable. It did get stuck a little bit. I ended up cutting a little bit. The wire actually came off. So I ended up using a needle nose to grab onto the tip and just pull it more. And I cut the nipple a little bit more so that I can have space for the needle nose, but I got it. Not a bad job at all, man. That was the most challenging part, I would say. So now I'm gonna put this back. I'm gonna route this through the front of the battery. I need the fuse part so that I can connect to the positive. So I'm gonna assemble that and I'll show you. All right guys, so it seems like you have to remove the plastic, this plastic piece, but on this side, and put it into your wire first with the grommet that it has. And then what you're gonna do is you back off the Allen screw and then insert your wire in there and then tighten up the wire screw and then tighten up the plastic nut onto here. And there it is. That's the way it should look. Now we connect this wire to the positive. Now remember guys, once you connect this to your positive, the other end is going to be live, so maybe you want to connect it to the amp before. Also, well, in my case it's not going to be because I don't have the ground connected yet, but I am going to connect the ground now before I do that. And before I do that, I'm going to connect the amplifier on all the way at the end. Connect the power wire, because you don't want that touching metal, so you'll have a fire. It will short out and you'll burn your car down, or the fuse will pop and your car will not burn down because it stops the current flow. But you know, if it's designed well, just be careful when you connect this. Be very careful once you connect it. Make sure it's connected to your somewhere safe, or it's not touching metal on the other end. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Be safe. Be very, very safe. Plan ahead. So I'm gonna go ahead and connect. As you can see, I put the cover back on to see how I was gonna route the RCAs, see if where I want my amp is gonna sit well. I have the remote connected, like I told you guys where I was gonna connect it. And I just route them through here. The ground, I got the power already ground. You saw me do the power wire, how I route it, and now the remote. So I'm gonna go ahead and connect everything to the amp, see how it flows, how everything looks. I'll show you. Okay guys, so I'm done with this part. Ended up hooking this up to here. And that is a 12 millimeter head on you need a 12 millimeter socket or a wrench. And then I secured it right here to the bracket with a zip tie. Like so. And I'm gonna probably push that in a little more so it's not touching here. Secure it somehow so it's a little cleaner look. That's fine. That's good enough. So it's not going anywhere. So we're done under the hood. I put all the trims back. Everything's back to normal here. And I started trying to hook up. I did get the power light to come on, so that means that my power, my ground, and my remote were working just fine. Now it's not for some reason. I was starting to adjust these adjustments right there because the speaker sounded like it's blown. Now it is possible that it's blown and my brother just didn't know. This might be shot, but anyway, it might also be a bad connection here. These things, I never did trust them too much, but that's like the quickest option for that. Because right now I don't have any power. Well, I got the stereo off because I just remember, so if I turn it back on, that blue light should come on like it was before. So and I have no light coming on, so that means that we have a problem with this connection. I'm gonna wiggle it and most likely to get it. See, now it's on. If I let it go, I lose it. So I gotta work on that. So you might have that problem if you're doing it just like me. But as long as you get the power light to come on your amp, then you're good to go. Just got to put everything together. I just got to figure out what's going on with this. Or are my connections bad here, or what's going on? But anyway, that's how you hook up an amp to a Lexus IS 300. I got to see what's going on with this. Alright guys, so I did get another amplifier. This one has like 500 watts or something like that, compared to this one with 180 if you bridge it. This Rocco Fosgate has 500 watts, and it did move the box, but that box still is making noises like it's blown up. So I don't know what's wrong with it, but I'm gonna get a new box, a new sub. Maybe I'll get just a sub and put it in there, or I'll just get the whole box with a sub. I don't know, but anyway, that's how you connect an amplifier to one of these Lexus IS. Probably all the Lexus, to be honest, but I'm not 100% sure. It's that simple. With that little converter thing, inline converter thing it's called, just hook it up. Right now, I'm just gonna keep these unplugged so that the speaker wires are not getting any voltage. And I'm securing the amp right here. It has a little strap. The car has a little strap right here for the amp, but I'm gonna keep this one. I think I'm gonna keep this one. I had Rocco Fosgate before, and they're pretty fucking good. I'll leave links in the description for this one if you want. If you want this Alpine, which is still a pretty good amp, I think I'm gonna go with this one instead because it has more watts. But this one will give you a nice kick too. But that's it, guys. If you have any questions, please like, subscribe. It's free. I'll catch you in the next time. The next video. Oh, but another thing, on the inline converter that I use to get the RCAs and connect to the amp, like this amp also brought like a bass adjuster, and that thing also brought a bass adjuster. I don't have it here, but the amp also brought it, and that's what those other wires are for. If you read the instructions, you can go ahead and install your bass adjuster and then bring it all the way to the front and mount it wherever you want. I'm just not going with it right now. I just want to get the amp connected to the box, and I'll equalize it back here on the amp, and I think I'm going to be okay with that. But if I got the option of installing the bass controller, and you guys will too if you buy the same stuff I bought. Again, thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.